Well, this is certainly unexpected. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Afterprinter. Welcome to my media channel. Here we talk about streaming, physical media, and all that jazz. And before we talk about today's video, if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. Like I said, we talk about physical media, streaming, and all that jazz. And you know, we would like to make 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It's been going slowly, but I think we can do it. You know, I don't think it's too much to ask. So I want to get that shameless plug out of the way really quick because my goodness, what a surprise! This really surprised me. So of course I was on Twitter, I don't know why, and I noticed that Jessica Jones was trending. And so your first reaction is, oh my gosh, are they gonna renew Jessica Jones? Not exactly, but I'm not sure what this means. So you might see this tweet from fandom. Marvel shows are showing removal notices on Netflix, suggesting they will leave on March 1st, and they have Jessica Jones listed, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and The Punisher. The fact that it's Jessica Jones that's trending leads me to believe that everybody rightfully concludes that Jessica Jones is, in fact, the best Marvel show of that group of series. Now, if you like Daredevil more, or The Punisher more, or, God forbid, Iron Fist, not saying you're wrong in liking those shows, but I think this proves that most people prefer Jessica Jones as the best one. But this is not a hoax, and this is not speculation. Entertainment Weekly, as reported by Nick Romano, has confirmed that the series are leaving Netflix, and the rights are reverting back to Disney. So what does that mean? Let's take a look at this article. So this is truly the end of Netflix's era of Marvel shows. The streamer's Defender series, which include Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, The Punisher, and The Defenders, are all leaving the platform at the end of the month, EW has learned. The rights to these projects have reverted back to Disney, though Disney has not made any announcements regarding premiere dates. Therefore, Disney did not immediately respond to EW's request for comment. Fans first began noticing a note attached to the start of these shows on Netflix that read, "This show is available until March 1st. No other information was given, but EW independently confirmed the shows will be leaving at midnight on March 1st. The Age of the Defenders of Hell's Kitchen began in 2015. Oh my gosh, has it been 7 years? My goodness. With the premiere of Daredevil, which starred Charlie Cox as the titular masked hero. This was followed by Jessica Jones, starring Kristen Ritter, Luke Cage, starring Mike Coulter, Iron Fist, starring Finn Jones, The Punisher, starring John Bernthal, who appeared as the title character in Season 2 of Daredevil, and an Avengers-like team-up miniseries called The Defenders. A deal was struck between Disney, which owns Marvel Studios, and Netflix to expand the scope of the MCU with multiple series that were connected to the movies. All the shows, however, were abruptly cancelled starting in 2018 as Disney shifted its focus to developing its own Marvel shows for the Disney Plus streaming platform. It was presumed at the same time that the Age of the Defender shows was over, but these characters have received newfound attention this past year. Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Daredevil villain Kingpin, reprised his role for Disney Plus series Hawkeye. And by the way, side note, I don't think he's actually dead. You know, for those of you who Hawkeye, you know what I'm talking about, but I don't think he's dead. Which officially brought him into the MCU. Shortly after the reveal, Cox returned as Daredevil for a cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home. As a result, Daredevil found its way back on Netflix's top 10 streaming chart for a time. Nielsen ratings also confirmed fans were actively rewatching the show following the MCU reveals. Cox now feels hopeful that there will be more opportunities to play Daredevil in Disney's MCU moving forward. He even admitted in an interview, "I know a little bit, not a huge amount, but a little bit. It's unclear what the future holds for these shows, but perhaps they will find a new home on Disney Plus." No, not gonna happen. That will absolutely not happen. These shows, you know, let's go down here because that's a video. These shows with these characters are way too mature for Disney Plus. Unless Disney wants to use them to test the waters for mature rated content on the Disney Plus platform, which I can totally see them doing. That I guess it's possible. I guess there's no chance, but unless Disney wants to test the waters for mature content on Disney Plus, I don't see this happening. If anything, these shows will go on Hulu. Now, this might actually explain why Netflix was abrupt to cancel the series once Disney announced plans to create Disney Plus. Because these shows were pretty successful, and I mean, when they canceled Iron Fist, people said, yeah, whatever, no one really liked Iron Fist and Luke Cage. And I guess people liked it, but it was kind of a minor show in comparison to the other two. But once they canceled Daredevil, people knew that there was something in the air. And what probably happened was Netflix knew that unless they renewed the deals continuously, basically they would have to give these shows back to Disney at some point. And to continue making the shows meant that you were making content for their competitor. Yeah, you're benefiting from it now, but at some point you would have to be giving these shows back to Disney, and who knows what Disney would have done with them. Now, again, I don't think they're going to go on Disney Plus. I think they're going to go on Hulu. Well, let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you like the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is that these shows return a week or two later on Hulu, and they continue to get good viewership, and Disney decides that they renew at least a couple of the shows. I think Daredevil, a season 4 Daredevil, seems pretty likely at this point. I can see them renewing Daredevil at the very least, and maybe even Jessica Jones, because it has a lot of fans behind it. And it would be nice if, like, maybe if these shows could start bringing people to Hulu, maybe that would be the best case scenario. So I think that's what's possible. That's the best case scenario anyway. Worst case scenario, Disney takes these shows back and they basically just reboot them and we never see them again. Now, is this possible? It's probably not as possible because, you know, you made these shows, they exist. On the other hand, they do have the Netflix logo on them. They are mature. There is some debate on whether or not the Wilson Fisk and Hawkeye is the Wilson Fisk from this Daredevil iteration. Some people say that it's pretty clear that it's not. I'm not as convinced. I think there's some room for debate on that one. But maybe Disney just takes the characters, keeps the actors, but the original shows just disappear. Now that's a worst case scenario. The reality is there's probably a middle ground thing. Maybe Daredevil gets renewed, but it's a little less mature than it was before. Maybe these actors get to play these characters in the MCU, but they're different versions of the characters, like people suggest with the Wilson Fisk character. That's probably the most likely outcome. I would be disappointed with that. I mean, I do know that Kevin Feige does not like playing with people's used goods. He has a vision for his characters. He wants to do what he wants to do with them. At the same time, Feige's not stupid. Feige is very well aware of what people feel about these series. Okay, maybe Iron Fist isn't as loved, so maybe you can do something to reboot that, if you will. But for the most part, these shows are very, very well loved. And I think he would be foolish to not capitalize on them. Either way, it's going to be very interesting, and it's also, like, personally a little disappointing for me, because when me and my wife went to see Spider-Man No Way Home, Charlie Cox shows up. You know, spoiler alert, you know, one of the highest grossing films of all time. I'm assuming everyone's seen it by now, but Charlie Cox shows up, everyone cheers in the audience, and she hasn't seen Daredevil, so she leans over, she's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Daredevil." And she's like, "Who?" So obviously we gotta watch Daredevil. We actually just finished season 1 of Daredevil on Monday, and we were gonna start season 2 soon. I'm wondering now if maybe we should put all the other shows that we're watching on hold to get through the Netflix Marvel shows, because, well, we might only have a limited amount of time to watch them. Now, if they never come back to Hulu, I mean, I'm sure there's other ways you can get them, which would be another reason why Disney would be foolish to just wipe them from the face of the earth. But we are in the streaming age, and Kevin Feige is very, very protective of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and who knows what he's going to want to do with these characters, with these shows. They aren't as connected to the MCU, and what's more, they're not exactly kid-friendly, especially Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones, if a kid watches Jessica Jones, they're going to learn things about what mommy and daddy do that mommy and daddy might not necessarily be ready to explain. But anyway, that is where we are going to leave that story. This was a huge shock, and it's really a kind of a breaking news story. So, anyway, what do you all think about this? Are you going to, like, quickly binge the series? Are you going to rewatch them? Like, what do you think Disney's going to do once they have these shows back in their pocket? Do you think they're going to wipe them from the face of the earth? think they're going to preserve them, but they're going to bring the characters in a new direction going forward? Or do you think they're going to continue the old shows? I would love to hear your thoughts, so comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.